Man, H-Town is absolutely buzzing right now because something massive is brewing inside NRG Stadium that's going to shift the entire AFC South power balance for real. One of the most important players on this roster was hiding a mindset so locked in it's actually scary, and the coaching staff is losing their minds over it. If you believe the Texans are officially the new kings of the division and you're ready to see a Lombardi trophy in Houston, you gotta hit that subscribe button right now. We are deep diving into the moves that define this new era. Let's go. CJ Stroud is officially the truth, and DeMeco Ryans is making sure the entire football world knows exactly what kind of general he has leading this huddle in Houston. Look, we all saw the highlights last year. We saw the incredible throws and the poise under pressure. But what's happening behind the closed doors of the facility right now is taking things to a whole different level of intensity. Coach Ryans has been vocal lately about just how deeply impressed he is with the mental makeup of this young signal caller, and when a guy like DeMeco speaks, you better listen. He's seen the greats. He's played against the best, and he's saying this kid's posture and leadership are light years ahead of his age. It's not just about arm talent anymore. It's about the way he carries himself in the building, the way he commands the respect of veterans who have been in this league for a decade, and the way he approaches every single meeting like it's the Super Bowl. The coaching staff is seeing a level of preparation that usually takes years to develop, but for this Ohio State standout, it seems to be hardwired into his DNA. They're noticing how he handles adversity in practice, how he never gets too high or too low, and that's the kind of stability this franchise has been starving for since, well, forever. It's a complete culture shift driven by one man's brain. And inside the building, this raised serious concerns for the rest of the league because if the mental game catches up to the physical talent this quickly, we aren't just looking at a good player, we're looking at a generational icon. Ryans keeps highlighting that specific posture, that aura of a winner that doesn't blink when the lights get bright. This is how dynasties are built in the NFL, by finding the right soul to lead the body of the team. But while the quarterback is locked in, the guys tasked with protecting him are going through a transformation that is much more chaotic than anyone realized. And here's the scary part, because what Nick Caserio is doing to the front line right now is going to determine if this whole plan actually works or if it all comes crashing down around the star of the show. If you think CJ Stroud is already a top 5 QB in this league, smash that like button and comment 7 is the one down below. Nick Caserio is tearing things down to the studs on the offensive line, and he finally went public with the blueprint for this massive structural overhaul that has everyone in Houston holding their breath. The general manager isn't playing around when it comes to protecting the franchise cornerstone, and he detailed a process of renovation that is as cold and calculated as it is necessary. We are talking about a total structural shift in how the Texans view the trenches. This isn't just about swapping one guy for another. It's a fundamental change in the philosophy of the blocking schemes and the physical profile of the players they want in those jerseys. Caserio explained that the team is implementing specific structural changes designed to create a more cohesive and resilient wall in front of the backfield. He knows that last year was a miracle considering the injuries, but he's not leaving it to chance again. This is the kind of move casual fans don't understand because it's not a sexy wide receiver signing, but it's the move that wins championships in January. He's looking at every single gap, every single footwork detail, and essentially rebuilding the engine while the car is driving down the highway. The focus is on finding guys who fit the new identity DeMeco wants: tough, versatile, and mean. But it gets worse for our rivals because Caserio isn't just looking at the starters. He's talking about a complete depth chart revolution. He's being very transparent about the fact that the old way of doing things wasn't good enough for where this team wants to go. The investment in this sector is massive, both in terms of draft capital and cap space, and Caserio is making it clear that if you can't block, you can't play for the Texans. It's a high-stakes gamble on structural integrity. And inside the building, the pressure is on the veteran holdovers to adapt or get left behind in the dust of this rebuild. This is a massive update for the trenches that changes the math for every defensive coordinator in the division. But wait until you hear how a rival coach from the North feels about a specific trade involving our backfield, because it's about to get real spicy. What Dan Campbell just admitted about a certain move will leave you stunned at how much other teams actually fear what we are building here. Do you trust Nick Caserio's vision for the O-line? Let me know in the comments if you think this line will be top 10 this year. Dan Campbell finally broke his silence on the trade that sent a massive shockwave through both Detroit and Houston. And his perspective on David Montgomery joining the Texans is telling us everything we need to know about our new weapon. The Lions head coach didn't hold back when analyzing the impact of this move, and you can almost hear the respect in his voice for what the Texans are getting in that backfield. Campbell knows exactly what kind of dog he let go, and he's basically warning the rest of the league that Houston just got a whole lot tougher. He shared his perspective on the negotiations and the eventual transition, highlighting that the addition of this powerhouse runner to the Texans' offense is a game-changer for the way they control the clock and punish defenses. This isn't just a simple trade. It's a strategic acquisition of a player who embodies the grit that Campbell himself preaches, and now that grit is wearing deep steel blue. The commentary from the Lions' side analyzed the impact of this swap with a level of depth that shows they know they lost a key piece of their identity. For the Texans, this means a reliable, hard-nosed veteran who can take the pressure off the young quarterback and keep those offensive linemen we just talked about moving forward instead of backward. Campbell's insight into the trade process reveals that the Texans were aggressive because they knew exactly what they were missing: a finisher. Now think about this. You have the mental brilliance of the young QB, a reinforced wall of an offensive line, and now a back that a coach like Dan Campbell hates to see on the other sideline. It's a perfect storm of talent and coaching. This is the kind of insight that usually stays in the draft room, but hearing it out loud confirms that the league is terrified of the balance this roster is achieving. The trade impact isn't just about yards. It's about the physical toll this runner will take on the AFC South. But what the Texans are planning to do next with this combination of power and poise is where things get really interesting for the playoff race. This is about more than just one season. It's about a total shift in the NFL's hierarchy that nobody saw coming 2 years ago. When you look at these three developments together, it's clear the Houston Texans are no longer just potential, they are a legitimate problem for the rest of the NFL. We are seeing a rare alignment where the three pillars of a franchise are being fortified simultaneously. First, you have the psychological foundation with C.J. Stroud. Having a quarterback whose mental game is already receiving rave reviews from a guy like DeMeco Ryans means the rookie mistakes era is effectively over. He's the brain. Then, you have Nick Caserio rebuilding the skeleton of the team, the offensive line. By implementing structural changes, he's ensuring that the brain has time to think and the body has the strength to move. Finally, the acquisition of David Montgomery provides the muscle. Dan Campbell's comments prove that the league recognizes the Texans are intentionally adding players with a specific temperament. This isn't a team of stars, it's a team of workers who happen to be stars. The synergy here is massive. The offensive line rebuild allows the run game to flourish, which in turn sets up the play action for a quarterback who is mentally sharp enough to carve up any defense. This is a masterclass in roster construction. Caserio and Ryans are perfectly in sync, building a team that is resilient, physical, and incredibly smart. The rebuild is done. We are now in the contender phase, and the rest of the league is clearly starting to notice the dangerous monster waking up in the AFC South. The Houston Texans are officially putting the entire league on notice, and the pieces are falling into place faster than anyone in Tennessee, Indy, or Jacksonville wants to admit. From the incredible mental poise of our franchise quarterback to the strategic overhaul of the trenches and the addition of a powerhouse veteran in the backfield, this team is built for a deep January